Hey, what's up? Um, just wanted to start off this video by saying I was completely overwhelmed with the response to the last video. I have emails I still need to reply to. If you emailed me, I will get back to you if I haven't. Um, I've just been dealing with a lot of stuff, but I was completely overwhelmed by that response. I can't thank you guys enough for your love and support. It means more to me than you'll ever know. There was multiple times I was nearly moved to tears, if not completely moved to tears. So genuinely and sincerely, thank you. Um, just a quick update. I'm still dealing with the same BS. If you guys want to donate or whatever, link will be down below. Helps me out with paying phone bills and shit like that. But during this time, I got thinking about a conversation I had with a friend. Longtime friend, Caleb. Shout out to you, man. Probably remember him, Ambient Sound. If you're a longtime viewer. We got talking about albums that are comfort albums a long time ago. And lately I noticed I've been spinning one record in particular a lot. And it got me thinking this might be a cool idea for a video series, so if you guys enjoyed this one, let me know if you want me to continue on. But this is an album that brings me a lot of comfort. And when I talk about that, it's like when I'm in a stressful point in my life, I have a lot of shit going on that I just don't want to deal with. I tend to gravitate towards certain records, and I kind of noticed that lately. And there's one that I've been listening to nonstop in the car. I've played it at home a few times. It's mostly in the car at night. This is one of my favorite records of all time, and I'm so excited to make a video about it. I've always wanted a reason to, and now I got one. We're going to be talking about the 2009 Rabid Records release of the self-titled debut album by electronic pop artist Fever Ray. I know a lot of you are about to click out of the video when you heard me say the word pop, but please just wait. I promise this is an album, if you're not normally into pop music in the slightest, this is for you. This is far from what you would hear on the radio typically. In fact, I'm sure a lot of you have heard the opening track from this album without even realizing who it was. Now, I want to get into like my backstory on this album and how I got into it. This is kind of like ties into how I became a YouTuber in many ways. One of my best friends in the entire world, Justin, he's the one that introduced me to the YouTube reviewing community. He showed me the Needle Drop back in the day, Jumble Junkie Music, Cover Killer Nation, well, just Cover Killer back then, 3 Creation, Macasaur FM, whole bunch of those dudes, which I am very thankful to say I became friends with a good amount of those guys. And the Needle Drop in particular had a video about like creepy music, which is no longer around because of the audio clips he used in it, because he used to use audio clips back in the day, like really early on. And he had a clip of the opening track from this album in the video. And me and my friend just looked at each other like, okay, we need to listen to this. And he downloaded it and put it on my Zune. And I decided to listen to it one night in the car when I was by myself when he went into someplace. It was out in the woods. And it just grabbed me instantly. And the track I'm talking about is this, I believe it is the theme song for Vikings, and it was featured in Breaking Bad. And I want to say a couple other series, maybe even a movie. I cannot remember off the top of my head. But I'm talking about If I Had a Heart. It sets a tone for this record absolutely perfect. It's very sparse in terms of the density of each track. And what I mean by that, it's a very spacious record. It's not one of those albums where they're just cramming sounds wherever they can to fill up space and just make it sound huge. They allowed minimalism. Christopher Berg, in particular, the producer of this record, who I'm going to have to say outside of, I believe his name is James Kent from Perturbator. Could be wrong on that name. If I got that wrong, I apologize. But Homeboy from Perturbator is my favorite producer, like, period, in the electronic world. Christopher Berg would probably be, like, a very close second, if not tied, just for this album alone. The use of space on this thing is utterly brilliant. This is a nocturnal record. You don't listen to this really on a sunny day. It doesn't work. If it's rainy, gray outside like it is today, perfect. If it's pitch black outside, perfect. Honestly, summer nighttime, this album is the shit. There's like an almost tropical vibe to the album as it like continues on. When you get to the song that would be Triangle Walks, track, what is that, 5. Track 5, you get these like drum machine sounds that have like a very tropical, almost bongo like sound, and it just almost transports me to like a beach on like an island somewhere at night. One of the themes that you'll find throughout this record, and that what makes it so dark outside of the instrumentals, is this album really deals heavily in isolation from a lyrical standpoint, and more specifically, isolation felt from motherhood, which is a pretty relatable theme. I feel like even if you're not a parent, in the sense of feeling isolated from the world because of like something you love to a degree, or something to that effect. This has got like a lot of like depressing, very like relatable lyrics, like such as in Triangle Walks, the hook, one of the lines is, "Can I come over? I need to rest, lay down for a while and disconnect." And I find that to be really relatable because there's always been points in my life where I've just been super stressed and I've always wanted to just be with like one person or whatever, just disconnect from like whatever the fuck is happening. And there's a lot of like very relatable themes to this record, in the sense of that. And it's a very far cry from what her themes would later be when she returned in like 2016, something like that, which was an insane gap. Very big departure from the lyrical themes on this album. But the beauty of this record cannot be overstated, and I feel like that's one of the many reasons why I find this to be a comfort album. Once again, the production is just unbelievable on it. It's all old school sounding synthesizers being used the way they were intended to be used. I'm telling you, it creates these dense atmospheres through just absolute minimal like density within the mix. It's absolutely perfect, and I struggle to find any album that captures the atmosphere that this has ever. I have searched high and low for a record that is similar to this one that I can love just as much, because I've played this so many times throughout my life. When I got into this, I want to say in 2010 at the latest. I'm pretty sure it was 2010 when I heard this the first time. And I've been searching high and low for something like this, and I just can't. This is a one-of-a-kind, once-in-a-lifetime album in my mind. If you need to disconnect from reality, put on a pair of headphones and let this take you on a journey. I promise you will be one of the kids on the back of this cover. It takes you to such a dark yet beautiful place. As I said, it really genuinely reminds me of being at night on a beach somewhere. There's the final track, Coconut. Coconut is one of my favorite songs, like, ever at this point in my life. The build to it is utterly incredible, and the theme of it, interestingly enough, lyrically, was taken from Karen Drescher, who is Fever Ray, She is part of a group called The Knife, which is her and her brother Olaf, which, as a side note, when it comes to The Knife, Silent Shout needs to be heard. If you haven't heard this album, do it. I'm going to talk about this more in an update at some point. But listen to that album, trust me. Her brother Olaf went to record a solo record in the Galapagos Islands by using samples of the birds and the wildlife and all that. And when he came back, he told her just how beautiful it was. And she longed to be able to experience that and go there with him to be a part of that. But she couldn't because she had to stay home to take care of the kids, which she doesn't regret. But that was just kind of the reality of it. And the final line, which is the hook to the song of "Lay back with a big cigar, this is where we are," I find to be very powerful, just because it's one of those things to remind myself, well, this is out of my control. I can't change it. And I find this to be just one of the most comforting songs on the record that just genuinely captures this nocturnal, tropical atmosphere. And this is going to lead into one of the most riveting parts of this record, which is the vocal performance from Karen on here. The use of pitch shifters is absolutely brilliant. I cannot stress that enough. If I Had a Heart is an excellent example. You've all heard it, but I'm going to show you a better example, which is the isolated vocals from Coconut. Just listen to how eerie and otherworldly this sounds. He came back one day, told me stories. I normally wouldn't include short clips like this, but this is something I feel like everyone needs to experience once in their life, is this album. And I'm trying to sell it the best I can to you guys. There's so many standout tracks. When I Grow Up is a fun sort of song, which is kind of interesting to say fun when referring to this record, but When I Grow Up, it's kind of has this childlike wonder to it while still maintaining the dark nocturnal atmosphere. It's very interesting. Cannot recommend that track enough. Dry and Dusty is an incredible song about how much she loves her kid, which you don't really think is what the song's about until you get to the end. Love that song. 7 is easily the most fun track on this album. 7, it's very poppy, but not in the sense of what you would hear on the radio. It's very catchy. It's very infectious. It's a very fun song. It has this excellent drum loop that they use. That's definitely, I don't want to say it's an 808, but I almost think it's like a 909 that was used. It sounds so good. It sounds so good. And the rhythm of it is just chef's kiss. It's such a great song. I talked a bit about Triangle Walks. Amazing track. Concrete Walls. Concrete Walls is a song about the isolation, the feeling of isolation itself. And there's one line in particular that I really, really understand, which is, "Oh, how I try to leave the TV on and the radio." The sound of silence when you're in a bad mental state is hell. So to hear that line, I instantly was just oh, I feel that hard. It's just kind of trying to just feel some sort of connection to something. And to hear it kind of worded that way, I genuinely felt that to my core. Now's the Only Time I Know is another excellent song, but it's a very weird one, especially with how it kind of flows. Not my favorite track from this album by any means, but I can't say anything bad about it. I'm Not Done is another interesting one. Kind of Now's the Only Time I Know, except I find I'm Not Done to have a much more powerful atmosphere to it. There's just something about it that has always resonated with me as one of my favorite tracks from this album, even though it's really weird. If you don't want me to check out something, call it weird. I probably won't, because I probably won't like it. Um, Keep the Streets Empty for me is a beautiful song, and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly it's about. But it's definitely a song that is probably the coldest one in terms of atmosphere on this record. It's the only one that doesn't feel tropical, but it's doesn't feel out of place, oddly enough. Because it still has this very dark, desolate feel. Once again, from the minimalist production, it just really aids in creating this very sparse, nocturnal atmosphere. And the album ends with Coconut, which, as I said, is easily my favorite track. It has the best build-up on the entire record. I mean, the length of the intro is nearly the length of most of the tracks on this album. It's just so powerful. It's an incredible way to end the record, and I cannot recommend this enough to anybody who has any sort of remote interest in dark electronic music. If you have an interest in pop, if you have an interest in anything like that, check this album out. In my mind, this is a perfect 10 out of 10 record. This is an album that always brings me comfort in my most stressful points in my life. This is an album that will forever be one of the most important records to me. It got me interested in electronic music. It got me interested in synthesizers and production. It's inspired me on countless times, not just with my synth, but with my personal lyric writing. This album will forever be one of the greatest records I've ever heard in my life, and it will forever be a comfort album. If you guys enjoyed this video and you enjoyed this record, let me know down below. If you want to see more albums in this series on comfort albums, leave it down below. Once again, thank you guys for your support. It means the world to me. And I'm now going to edit this bitch, and then you'll be watching it. So, have a good one. Later.